Hello, welcome to this video. This video is going to be us continuing the series to try to find the find out the mystery of Langrenus 2021-14, the one that was streaming from the moon and made this YouTube thumbnail, I guess, their YouTube page for some reason. This picture, which we have figured out, we know where this comes from, where this outside comes from. We do not know. Maybe he took it himself. So something we were going to look at. We weren't going to look at what we did in the past episodes. This is part 6. If you didn't watch the other episodes, maybe watch those. If you don't watch those, you might not know what we're talking about, right? But if you did watch them, you probably do have a pretty good idea. So something we were going to do was compare this footage that this person took from the moon, and we're going to compare it to actual NASA footage that they actually took from the moon. And the weird thing is, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So if we go here, if we were to have this video playing, so this would be like one clip of the video that he took from the moon as he's filming the Earth. He's a cameraman. He can move the camera if he wants, and he can apply different filters to the camera to make it easier or harder for us to see. I guess depending on how bright it is over there at the moment, maybe it's the counter for how bright it is up there. You're supposed to have the sun all day, every day for 50 days, and then there's supposed to be no sun. So our theory is he's filming this when there's no sun for 15 days. So he's doing all this in the dark, and he's trying to record what he can with what little light he can. So something we're going to do is look at the the black background. Something that's interesting. If we put the edge detection on, it would actually start to pick up little things in the background. It's just little squares in the background. Doesn't really show too much. But if we wanted to amplify that and find them easier, just to make it easier to find them and easier to compare everything, put the exposure all the way up. Then we look at the video, and as we look at it, all these squares at the top that are making these weird movements, these things actually happened in the actual Apollo recording missions too, right? So even NASA recording from the moon looks exactly like this with this filter on, right? If we were to do this when he changes filter in his camera, right here, changes. Oh no, it's not right there. We'll just say it creates a whole bunch of squares in the sky, right? To the black sky up there. And if we go over here, so this would be this filter, so probably be like the same thing. And then he changes his filter, then it changes completely, right? So we'll just do this. We'll do the same thing. This is before he changed the filter. So we add edge detection. Then we just put exposure all the way up, just to be able to see the squares in the back. So if we go here, when he's doing this filter here, once it loads up, there we go. Then it'll start showing these squares across this footage as well, right? So they do change depending where you're aiming at the sky, I guess. They do look a little bit different, but the main concept is the same. If you're on the moon and you're trying to film something, this will happen if you're using optimum moon filming settings. So if he goes here, he actually changes the camera to a different filter or a different setting. He presses some button on his camera that changes it. So if we were to go edge detection here, and if we were to do the exposure all the way up, those blocks don't appear anymore. They don't appear anymore. We're not sure how he did it. So if we go here, maximize, he pressed the button on the camera to change something to make it easier to film the Earth that's over here, right? Because over here he wasn't filming anything, he was just filming the ground, and he had this filter on, which made it hard to see anything at all. And then he's turned the camera to face it towards the Earth, and then he presses a button to change the filter on the camera, and then all those squares in the sky are gone. All the squares in the sky are gone. All of them are gone. We're using the same settings. So whatever he does there, now let's look at some real Apollo footage, right? What would it really look like on the moon? What would it really look like on the moon? So if we take this, Let's go to the first one we got, right? We just go here, maybe go to the first footage that we have. Or we can even go to the second footage, I guess, right? Here's what it would look like on the moon. Here's what it would actually look like on the moon if they were filming it. So just take this one, just because we can see the back clearly, and they're just working here. So let's just do some things here. Let's put on the edge detection. So as we can see, there is squares in the back. If we were to add effect, exposure, put this all the way up, those squares would come out, right? These are the exact same squares that we see there. They're just a different color for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why they're emanating from them. Maybe it's because we don't ever see any people in the stream when he's streaming it, right? But the main concept is the same. The blocks appear in the sky and the blocks appear down here. So if we were doing this when it wasn't looking at people, it would look different. Maybe it's because there's actual people in the frame, but they're changing the colors, right? But if you go here, when it's looking at nothing, when it's just looking at the barren wasteland like the other one was, we'll just go like this. Those squares do appear here, right? Not the same. Not the same. There is some glow coming from the surface. We're not sure about that though. But if you look up, all those squares appear, and they're actually multicolored in this thing. They're not all white. Why are they multicolored in the actual moon filming, but they're all white in the fake moon filming, or the real moon filming, right? That doesn't make sense. Why are they all colored now? Is that true? Is that true? Or are we just seeing things? So we go over here. We know the ground is colored, right? Yeah, it's all black. It's just because of his filter. That's right. His filter makes everything black and white. His filter makes everything black and white. So everything would be black and white. Even the squares in the sky. So it's just his filter, right? We can look at the squares on the bottom. There's not too much color. It's mostly black and white. Once he changes the filter, then they start getting more color, right? There's more color in the bottom. So wonder about that, right? Why did they completely disappear from the sky when he changes that filter? But in the Apollo missions, where's the one with the effects at the beginning? The Apollo missions here. Where's the ones with the effects? These ones. Okay, so it's just his filter, right? We're wondering why this is colored and his wasn't. It's because he has a black and white filter on or something, or at least some saturation or something with his camera to make it so the colors don't pop up. That's what it was. If we look, same thing as in the sky, except when he has that different filter on, which these guys don't actually use that filter for some reason. But they do get a clearer picture somehow. You do get a clearer picture somehow. So if we were to do this, we're just looking at the skyline, right? We're just looking at the skyline, looking for all those up there. So the ground does look a bit different, but that's just because there's no noise distortion, right? So I wonder if we just we'll just look at one more, maybe. We'll just look at one more like that, and then we'll try to figure out something else to do. So I think we looked at that. Here's what the Earth looks like. Oh, this picture, right? This one is almost exactly like the picture that he showed, right? That's where we thought it might have came from, but it didn't. So we'll see a lot of those things here if we do this, right? He's just pointing straight up to the sky. So if we do edge detection, put on the exposure up to high, those should appear in the sky. It looks exactly like his now, right? There's not as much color. It's just that's different. Oh, it looks almost the same as his, right? It glows white. It glows white like that. His glows white like that when you put the saturation up. It's almost exactly like his. Maybe there's a bit more noise. It's because there's a different amount of noise. That's right. There's different noise on the different cameras, so it will look a little bit different. But I guess the basic concept, if we just like press the play button, the squares are smaller. But does the Earth look the same? The Earth does look almost the same, right? As the picture, as you're moving it, it does have tracers or something. What's happening with the Earth up there, right? Because we know we have pictures of his Earth. We can apply these filters to it. We've seen what they look like. This almost looks exactly the same as him, and it follows the camera, right? As you're moving around, the Earth moves with the camera. So I wonder without the saturation, we wouldn't have as much interference from over there. So let's just take that off. Or yeah, we'll take that. Take off the exposure. Take off the exposure and then look at it, right? Here's exactly what the Earth looks like in the videos that he recorded for the moon. On his channel, right? If we're looking at the Earth, it looks exactly the same. When it zooms in, it's going to start showing the more formations of it, right? It's going to start showing the clouds and everything. Although it doesn't seem to. It seems to be all black, right? Because I don't think he zoomed in this much. So there we go. That's kind of what it looked like, right? It's pretty much just a planet surrounded by a circle. There it is, right? We can see it now. Now we can actually see the clouds and everything. We can see that. That's what it looks like in the Langrenus videos when you actually do the same thing to it. That's so weird, right? We can take a snapshot. We can save this. That is so weird. That's an actual footage of looking at the moon, how it would look like. And that's exactly how it looks like in the Langrenus video. What is going on? So we take edge detection off. Just look at it how it normally looks like, right? Without any filters. Where is the line that we drag? Where's the line that we drag to start the video? Let's look at it without the filters, right? He would have noise. We can add noise to it to make it more like his. This is what the actual NASA footage of looking at the moon, or looking at the Earth, I guess, right? It's really bright for some reason. For some reason, it's so bright. Is that why you use the filters? To make it so the Earth didn't reflect like that? Or it could just be they have like a light shining it, or it's just a really bright day out, right? It could be the 15 days of darkness where he's at. But once they do this, then you can actually see what the planet looks like, right? So you can actually kind of see that it's a full globe almost. Except that when you use the edge detection, it doesn't pick it up. So that's just us filling it in because we know it's a circle, right? So that's what it actually looks like. Then when it zooms out, this is what this looks like. So the ground has the same gradient effect, right? That's something that we noticed. When we're looking at this ground has the same gradient effect. An official NASA video looks exactly like this without even adding any noise or anything. We can barely make out anything on the ground. It's doing the exact same thing that it did in the Langrenus video for the entire video. So look at this, right? That's exactly what his video is doing. Except you can see stuff. It's not as bad, right? This rock would be phasing in and out, and this rock would be phasing in and out, but it is pretty pixelated, just like that video. Jeez. And then they turn up the brightness or something on the camera. Turn up the exposure a bit, maybe. Or maybe it's just the camera readjusting. Because look at the distance of him over here, right? This is how you get the perspective. There is rocks over here as he zooms in. Rocks up here. So if you're zoomed out, you wouldn't see a single one of these rocks. They were grainy. So that's where he found out about his videos. Why are they so grainy? Because everything is so far away from him that it can't make out anything. Which was actually proven in this clip, right? Real NASA clip, no editing. This is what it looks like. Here's the rocks. Wonder, right? Everything's just so far away in his video that it's pixelated. Here's the rocks you can see here. And it's still grainy, but it's not as grainy, so we can't make them out. So I wonder if like every single mountain can't be that far away, can it? Even when he looks on the ground, is it grainy? We're not sure. But I think they're supposed to zoom out again at some point, right? Oh no, he's going to the next clip. Okay. So we can see here, right? We'll watch this. The ground. Pretty much exactly like the Langrenus video ground was, right? The sky is doing the same thing, right? I guess the sky is doing the same thing. They might have the same type of problem in some type of way. So I think, we have to figure out what we're doing. Edge detection. Is that what we wanted to do? Yeah, we wanted to check the static in the background. That's what we wanted to check. We wanted to check what the static looked like in the background. If we go like this, we just want to check the static. Okay, it looked like that, right? When it's zoomed out like this, for some reason, it's just a different amount of noise. That's it. Just a different amount of noise that's coming from the camera. But it does have those just like in the video. It's different, but it's not the same. But they didn't have the earth in the picture, right? It's so strange. So let's take that off, take that off, take that. So I think we're done with this clip. I think the thing that we're looking at this, we'll look at the next clip now. The thing that we're looking at this clip is the ground does become grainy as you zoom out. Like, we can't make out anything there, right? We can't make out anything. So it could be he's just filming from far away, and he's filming the edge of the cliff. That's why it looks like that. Look at that. You can barely make anything. You can see, like, that's a rock you can barely see. That's a rock you can just see. And the only reason we can see it is because this video camera's maybe a little bit better. So let's just try doing something we're going to do. We're going to add a noise to this. So if we go like this, if we go to effects, and if we add some noise like he did, add noise to it, it's going to make it really pixelated and grainy. So this is more noise than he added. We're not sure why the sky gets the noise, right? But if we do that, if we were to add noise to it, the ground would look even more like his ground, right? So this is exactly what his ground looks like. When you add the noise effect. Except that the sky doesn't get messed up like this, right? So if we're looking on the ground, we can't discern those rocks anymore. We can't. There's a rock there, right? Maybe it's coming in and out as it's coming into focus, right? So the main thing we're doing here is we're trying to see what would it look like if there's a lot of noise on it, and we're trying to find those same rocks. Could we find them? We can, right? We can see that they're not phasing in and out. So this isn't as bad as his, but it's kind of the same thing, right? We can almost see him. I think it'd be worse, right? I think there's more noise on the ground, so you can't see anything. So you can barely see the rocks out there. If we didn't know they were rocks, no, we can see them pretty clearly, actually. But I imagine there's more rocks out here if we remove the noise, right? If we're looking at this, this is all we can see. If we remove the noise, remove that, and then go back in. It's right over here for some reason. Oh no, it's the why does it go to the next clip? What was it do with that? So I think we'll just stop looking at this clip, right? We looked at this one a bunch. So there is a lot of rocks over there, right? There is a lot of rocks. We can only make out a few of them. Look how much there are. That's what we were trying to figure out. If you added a whole bunch of noise, we couldn't discern those rocks on the side. We couldn't discern these rocks down here, right? We couldn't tell these were rocks down here. We couldn't tell those were. We could only see that rock. That was it. We could only see that one rock because there was so much noise. Maybe we seen two rocks over here, but there was a whole lot more of them. So that's what just adding noise to the video can do, right? Even if we're looking at that clip, maybe we'll skip that one. But if we're looking out here, we can see there's a whole bunch of holes on the ground, right? We can see there's a whole bunch of holes on the ground, just like there would be in his video. If we were to add a bunch of noise, go to effects, all we have to do is add noise to it. Add some noise, and then play that again. Play that again with the noise added to it. You barely make them out. Not sure why the sound wanted it to be muted, right? We do mute it, but it doesn't get muted. Mute. So if we go here, as we're going through, it might be harder to see, even though he's going to be carrying it still. No, we can still clearly see. You can still clearly see that there's craters. I guess there's a point where the camera was still. How much noise and interference is in his camera, right? How much noise and interference has to be in his camera to make it so that you literally can't even make out the holes in the ground anymore. It's like this, right? Here's what the ground looks like. Here's what, like 65 noise. Maybe that's too much. That's kind of similar to what his ground looks like, right? There is holes down there. We know there is holes down there. There is craters, but we can't make them because the ground is so filled with noise. I don't think he added that much noise. So like 40 or something. But again, the noise is only on the ground, right? The noise is not actually in the sky as much, but the ground looks like this. And we can barely make out that, right? It is starting to phase in and out. There it is right there. We can barely see them, but they are there. And I imagine there's tons of holes here that we can't see because of the noise that's been added to the video. Or over the recording, if if they can't send good quality videos for the moon, alright, maybe it's hard. Or if you look here, this is an actual NASA photo, and it's pretty hard to actually make out anything on the ground. I think this is too much noise, but basically that's almost as much noise as he would have in his video, right? I'm sure there's rocks and holes in the ground, but because of it, we can't see anything. So even if there's like something where it was still, right, where the camera wasn't panning and moving around everywhere, that'd be nice. I think it was like over, oh, here's something, right? The camera's not moving too much. He's going to be there. But if we were to do that to this, right? I guess there is no real holes right there. Maybe at near the camera. We're just trying to find something that would be good for doing that, right? Want to find something where we can see lots of craters, and the camera's not moving too much, and then where we can add the noise filter to see what the difference might be. Yeah, just the camera's always moving. We'll find something. I'm sure if you had a lot of noise, you wouldn't be able to see anything there. But that's actually pretty far away, right? We have to be able to find something before we reach the end. There's a lot of tire tracks here, right? So this would be an example of what you might think the moon normally looks like. But it only looks like that if there's actually been people there. Or if there's a whole bunch of noise added to it, right? So what if we go here? We add noise to this one. What does this look like? We know that this has a lot of tire tracks and everything. We know that there's people there. But if we add noise, maybe 65, is that too high? You can't even tell that there's people there, right? You can't even tell by looking at the ground. So over here, there's supposed to be tire tracks everywhere. But you can barely tell, right? So any like any dark color, I think that's too much. We're sitting here trying to figure out if it's possible to make it look kind of the same, which it is, right? It is pretty. It does look pretty much the same. No, you can still see everything clearly. Yeah, his ground is really pixelated. His ground's really over here. I imagine there's something on the ground, but we can't see any of it. So that's getting pretty close. That's getting pretty close. I don't know why the audio it's supposed to be muted. Audio track 1 is supposed to be muted. It's supposed to be muted, but it's not. So let's go over here. So this is what we were talking about. The moon, the sun flare, right? When he angles his camera up, we never ever see this. There's a better example at the beginning, right? I think they're supposed to be at the beginning somewhere. Yeah, like some examples of like when you angle the camera up, it's gonna go to the sun, and you're not gonna be able to see anything. These ones. Something we notice is the sun never goes into the camera, right? The sun never goes into the camera on any of his footage, right? But it's supposed to. The sun is supposed to go and glare into the camera because it's so bright out there. Unless he's in the 15 days of darkness, that's right. That would be the only theory, right? The only reason he's not seeing the glare of the sun is because he's in the 15 days of darkness. So just try to figure out, go back to the end where we were. I think we did some effects here. Maybe it was over here. I think we should be reaching the end at some point. So we could have already went through this video, right? But it looks like we did. So it already ended off. So we'll still try to find something. Let's try to find it. We can see, see there's lots of things out there. Would that be a good place to do it? There's not too many things in the back. Okay, I guess here's where we were, right? Here's what we were just looking at, I believe. Yeah, I guess you can see it clearly. Those guys messed up the ground. You can definitely tell that there's been people in that area. So if we're over here, we can see there's stuff in the background, but we can barely see it here, right? That's what we're saying. This kind of looks exactly like his video, right? We can see a white line up there. We can see a white line up there. We can see a white line up there. And those are actually craters and boulders up there, but you can't see them because they're so out of focus. And this is the video without doing any modifications, right? Which means that they could be way out there. And if we added some noise to something like this, maybe that's it. Maybe we figured it out. Maybe we figured it out. Add noise. Go here. Now it looks exactly like his does. So the hills that he's looking at are really far away. That's exactly what his look at, right? There is something. We can barely see the white line there. We can barely see it. And it's there at the white line. If there was more things in the mountains, we couldn't see it. So the only reason it's like that is because it's so far away. So it does kind of do like that. I just wish that there was actually some craters up there so we'd have something like that to reference to, right? So if we take that off, there's no real easy to tell craters up there. We can see it is possible, right? So if we go here, there is craters on the ground. We can see that. We can barely see them though. So this in the back kind of looks like that one video from him that he made where he was showing this in the back. Like that one mountain there. And then these were actually there. So this is actually a video of the moon from NASA. And this looks exactly the same as the video from there. Like basically the quality, the ground quality too, right? You barely see anything. The only difference is this, there's no noise. We see those things. So I guess here, if we do it right here, if we do that right there, add noise, would they start phasing it out? These things down here, I think we probably had to add more noise, right? So if we go here, yeah, you can still even make them out. They don't disappear. There's so much noise in his video. More noise at that, right? Because we can clearly see them. Although it's getting kind of hard to see them. It's so hard to see them. But there wasn't any rocks or anything. So I guess we looked at that for a little bit. Then the last one is just that thing blasting off. Oh no, I guess we had some footage of the rover as well, right? This would be this. This would be like you get a still picture. We see there's holes on the ground. We see there's rocks out here. It's just weird that they don't phase out like they do in his video, right? So here's his video. Here's something that'd be kind of like it, right? We'd be looking for these white dots, these white lines. This is what we're looking for in his videos. Because even though they're pixelated, and even though these things appear and disappear, the white lines stay there, right? So we can say the white lines might be a crater by the looks of it. We're looking at this picture, right? It's the exact same thing. If there was some noise, would these phase in and out? I don't know. Like even if we just add the base amount of noise, they could have to add more to it. We can't see them anymore, right? We kind of see them. The white lines, they stay there. I guess we can't see anything else, right? We can barely see it. Or if we had like less noise, we could add less noise to this one, right? You go like 14, or you can do less coverage. I imagine even that would be a little bit difficult to see them, right? It's up there, it's not as bad. Maybe up here, but it's not moving, right? It's not as bad. I'm not sure what he did. Not sure how how he exactly did it. We can't recreate it, right? That's what we're saying. We can't recreate his videos. We can't do the same thing with the ground. We can't do the same thing with the ground. If this is over here, we know that there's holes up here. What do they look like, right? What does this look like? With noise. We might have to add more, we're not sure. So we can still see them clearly, right? It's because they're so far away. But back there, looks exactly like his video, right? At the top. Up here, this clip's just not that long. There's not enough noise to make it look bad. But over in the back, it kind of looks like his video, right? Maybe it's just so far away. That makes sense. We can't see anything back there. It's so far away. There is holes up there, right? We can see white lines up there. There's white lines. We can see those are all holes up there. There's another white line up there. So it is kind of phasing in at this point because of the distance. The distance of it, right? It was just there. We couldn't see it. Now we can. We go back a frame and it appears over there, but it is over there, so it is working. If it's so far away, the problem is the distance, right? That's why it does that. So we just figured it out. Everything in his videos is really far away, added with the noise. Even an official NASA video would do that. If there was like a little bit more, right? If there was more, it would do it more. These rocks, maybe they go out. We'd have to check that out. So I wonder if like adding more noise would kind of just counter the stuff that's close but not ruin it, right? So if we just go like this, I know it's so pixelated, but they are starting to move even though it's close. So this would kind of counteract the distance of them, right? So they're hard to see. We can just make them out. They're not moving everywhere. Things over the distance, we can't see anything about them. Right here, right? That black dot. Black dot was there, that goes out. Same with here. These black dots, they go in and they go out. So it is possible. It is possible that they're so far away, add with the noise, that they are there, and they do keep coming back in, depending what frame you are in, right? It's so hard to see anything because it's so staticky, just like his ground, right? Exactly like his ground. Not sure if there was like anything else we could look at, right? Here's the Langrenus crater. We did find this video. This video shows where it is being filmed from, right? It's being filmed from right here. Here's the Langrenus crater, the near side, China, NASA, the rocket that they sent out, right, 6 months ago. They're related to this. Langrenus, they landed over here. And he's sitting right there. We can see him right there. That's where he's filming from. That's where he's filming from. So what if we look? Well, it's hard to find like actual rocks at the edge of those cliffs from the Apollo footage, right? So you only have one more clip added here, actually. So it's just driving around in the rover. Maybe that'd be a good thing, right? These rocks are all up close. I don't think that doing that would do anything. We did have the other rover video, right? Wherever the rover video was. We'll see if we can find that. So it's going to be a bit bumpy. And it's going to be moving, which is going to cause more problem, which might help them phase in and out. So let's just go here. Let's add noise. It's not going to be the same thing. It's not going to be the same thing. But I guess if the hill is really far away, right? They would do the same thing. If there was noise, they would look exactly like they do in his video. Like over here, right? Look how far that is. I imagine there's something out there, but we can't make them out. There's some holes here. But there's not enough noise to make them phase in and out. Or they're not far enough right there. Maybe there's. Maybe it was doing that. Maybe that up there is. It's so hard to recreate this video. We're pretty close, right? We can say it has to do with the distance that it becomes like that. Has to do with that. Let's just move this up a bit, right? They put it up to 50. See what that does. So we over here. So I still don't think it's the same. It's getting pretty close, right? Look, it is coming in and out. It is coming in and out. The extra movement is making it more blurry like his, right? That thing, we see it one frame and then it's gone and then it comes back. So it is true. It is true. It is true that if there's enough noise and it's far enough away and you're moving, it'll phase in and out. So you just have to factor in the distance that he's recording from, right? The distance that he's recording from is all the way back at that crater in the central point of the crater. And then he's filming out to the edge of the craters, which is why we don't actually see anything usually. So you kind of see if it was still, it'd be easier to calculate, right? That thing right there, that thing did go in and out. So look at that. Look at that right there. There's rocks out there. There's a rock right there. If you go to the next frame, did it move? It's gone. Is there the one frame that disappears? Then it comes back. Then as you come closer to it, it probably comes in. There it is again, right? It just phased in. 2 frames later, it's gone. Then it comes back again. So it's kind of like that. Maybe this thing, was that thing gone 2 seconds ago? It is kind of gone. Then it comes back. So it is kind of the same thing, right? So if there's enough noise and it does like that, it would do the same thing. It would disappear. Then it would come back. It would do that. He's just still though, so it's not exactly the same thing because this is moving, right? We clearly see the rocks up there, right? We clearly see them. There's no denying that those are rocks up there. But on his video, you can't tell that they're rocks, right? The rock in the middle did disappear there. It does come back. We're not seeing any craters anywhere. We're not seeing any craters anywhere. These are all just rocks, right? There's not a single crater anywhere. Is that true? There's not a single crater in this video. There's not a single crater in this video. We just realized that, right? The whole surface is covered with craters, but this place is only covered with those rocks. So if we're looking at these rocks compared to the rocks in the video, like discounting the fact that the rocks are black, probably because of his camera setting or something. The rocks kind of do look like this, right? There's more rocks here, obviously. Well, more rocks here, obviously, for some reason. We don't see a single crater anywhere. Was that one? Maybe that is one to the right. Maybe there's a crater just right here. Then is that like the only one we see, right? So I'm just seeing there's not too many. Oh, there's one right there, right? Maybe that's one. So I guess there is craters along the surface. They're just harder to see for some reason, right? You can clearly see the rocks over there. You clearly see those, but the craters, they look exactly like they do in the video. Take a snapshot of here, we'll take a snapshot of that, right? These look exactly like they do in his video. The Langrenus videos that were coming straight from the moon. Right there, right? There's a crater right there. We can clearly tell. Looks exactly like his video from that picture that we took. So all those things are actually craters, and all the black and white dots are rocks. That's what we're figuring out, right? 39 minutes. So we'll probably end it soon. We've looked through everything, I think. There's 2 craters right there, right? Right there. Exactly like his exactly like his video. Those are the ones that kept popping up. And in that one picture, you can see those. You just don't see the rocks because they're out of focus for some reason. So there actually is craters here. We actually couldn't see them with the noise on. We couldn't see them. I think it was up to 50, right? There is craters, but we can't see them. They're gone. They're right there. We can barely see them. The craters are the ones that phase in and out, right? It's up there. We could see it for a sec. Maybe there's too much noise. If it's over there, you can't even see the craters anymore. That is so ridiculous. I think we'll end the video. Not sure what we're doing for the next one, right? We're gonna get looked over here. Here's going through the end. Maybe we'll look at the last clips. This is this rover clip, right? If we add noise to this one, I think we have to add more noise to it. Yeah, if we add more noise to it, it'd be the same thing. It'd be the same thing. Look the same as the Langrenus videos, right? If we're looking on the ground, we need to mute it for some reason. If it was on the ground, it's hard to see things in the distance. You can see things up close, but it's hard to see things in the distance. And when he tilts down his camera, it's easy to see things that are up close. So I think it's just up to how far the mountains are, right? You can still see everything so clearly, though. His camera's really messed up. His camera's really not good. His camera would be even more intensity. Something like 70? This is what his ground looks like, right? Yeah, there we go. It's phasing in and out. There should be some rocks or grounds there that keep coming out. So this is how bad his ground looks like when he's filming. This is when Langrenus 2021-14, when he films. This is what his ground looks like most of the time. Is it because it's so far away, mixed with the static? I think we'll end it, right? 42 minutes. That's a long video. We're supposed to like 30 to 40 minute videos. So we're just messing around with static to see if we could simulate something like that, right? So it depends. Everything's far. Now that we looked at this, we could go back to the Langrenus videos, right? And then we can see the similarities between all these Apollo mission videos, all these actual moon videos. Then you come back here. Then you look at these. Here's what his ground looks like, right? Here's what his ground looks like. Here's what his ground looks like. We don't see too much on the bottom except when they phase in and phase out because of how far away it is. Because of how far away that is. Right? Even when you have this bad filter on, right? Even when it's even more pixelated, right? Is it the distance? This hill looks pretty close. This hill looks pretty close and it's out, right? There's the rocks. He should be able to see this. That's not that far away, is it? I have no idea. That's not that far away. It shouldn't be that pixelated. Because there's no noise in the sky, right? When we add noise, there's noise all over the ground, add all over the sky. When he has noise, it's only on the ground. That is the interesting part.